Having lived in both Jackson, Mississippi and Memphis, Tennessee, I've been lucky to see, cover, and learn about the civil rights movement in some very meaningful ways.
And this morning, an author is bringing that same kind of perspective to a children's book called Liberty's Civil Rights Road Trip. That author is Michael Waters, and we're so lucky to have him join us right now. Michael, thank you so much.
It's my honor to be with you. Thank you so much.
Liberty's Civil Rights Road Trip is a new picture book that is coming out October the 12th. Give us kind of an overview of what that book is about.
Well, on the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination, I led a group of faith leaders from Dallas in a civil rights pilgrimage. And on that pilgrimage were several young people, including our children, the youngest of which was Liberty. I've led this trip for nearly 20 years. However, seeing the experience, going to these places and really reflecting on them through the experiences of young people, transformed these very harrowing spaces into a hope-filled spaces. And I was so impacted by the young persons, in particular Liberty, who were part of this pilgrimage, that I felt that it was a story that needed to be shared broadly, particularly with all that is going on in America today.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I mentioned I lived in Jackson and Memphis, and that was my experience. I grew up learning about the civil rights movement, but there was something different to actually be in Jackson and to be in Memphis and some of the other places. So can you talk about some of the key places and people that are featured in Liberty's Civil Rights Road Trip?
Sure. One impactful experience was on the porch of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church Parsonage in Montgomery, where Abdullah and Liberty, the two youngest on the trip, literally knelt down and placed their little hands in a small crater that remains on the porch from a bomb that was detonated there during the civil rights movement. And to see those precious hands investigating and exploring that space and asking questions as to who would do such a thing, why are there persons who hate each other in the world, really was arresting for all of us who were there. I can think about being with my children in the very place where Emmett Till was killed. And that's a very visceral experience. But to see how they navigated even in that space in hope-filled ways served as a reminder that the sacrifices that we make in our own day can, in fact, create new opportunities for those who are to come.
And Michael, why do you think it's important to introduce children to the civil rights movement at a young age?
I think it gives them a greater appreciation for our country and the sacrifices that have been made and continue to be made in order to protect our democracy. We gain nothing by attempting to whitewash history or keep the truth of our history away from our young people, because ultimately it is often the young people who lead us ahead in progress. And so I think it is critically important very early in life that we give our children an authentic view of our nation, of all of the persons and sacrifices that have been made to perfect our union, and to encourage them to contribute in their own way to the bending of this long arc towards justice.
Michael, thank you so very much for joining us. We've got a copy of your book that you were kind enough to send it to us, and it looks fantastic. We're excited to dive into it more. We'll tell everyone at home that Liberty Civil Rights Road Trip is available wherever books are sold, and especially at flyawaybooks.com.